Welcome to R&R Showtime with Robert.
And Ryan,
Ryan, what are we here for today?
we are here to count down our top 10 movies of 2025. Yay!
Woo!
Yay! How many movies did you see in 2025, brother?
I didn't see 25. I think I saw 20, 21, 20, I think
21.
by my count. How many did you see, Ryan?
I also did not see 25. I think I saw a little over 100.
Right. You did four times 25. I did, you know, almost
Four
100%.
four
So,
fifths of 25.
yeah. Um, well, what I'll say is, honestly, in my opinion, and obviously I didn't see that many movies, but one of the reasons I didn't make it a point to go out of the way is feels like a weak year for movies.
I agree. I fully agree.
And I feel like your opinion matters more. So if you agree, it must be right.
I I absolutely agree with you.
Hmm.
And I kind of have I have a when we come to the end of my list, there will be a very glaring thing that will show why I feel like this was a weak year in movies.
Okay.
But
Looking
I
forward
don't
to
want to
seeing that.
spoil too much in that regard.
Okay.
One thing I do want to clarify on my list, because this year we've done a handful of podcasts. Um, I think we did about five in total. Three of them, three on three separate podcasts. I've talked about the film I'm Still Here because it was in our Oscar podcast, it was in our Oscar Best Picture podcast
Hmm.
where we looked back, and it was in my halfway through the year best movies list. It still makes my top 10 list, but rather than actually spend time talking, just sort of glazing over it, this is a great movie, I'm gonna do my 11 to 1 and just kind of glaze over where I'm Still Here should be on the list. And just note, hey, I'm Still Here. It's a great movie,
Hmm.
but I want to get a chance to talk about a movie that I haven't talked about in three podcasts already.
All right. Respect. Well, let's get to it then. And, since you have the initiative, why don't you go ahead and start by giving us did you say 11?
So technically, this is 11, but for the sake of this list and brevity and such, this is number 10.
Okay.
And at number 10, I have the Netflix original, third in the trilogy, Wake Up Dead Man, a Knives Out story or tale
Oh,
or whatever it's specifically called.
dang, I wish I'd fit that in. I'm gonna say right now, like I've seen it on Netflix. It's just one thing I haven't been making time for movies generally. But it's one thing I do love a whodunit. So
Yes, you do, and I think you'll enjoy this whodunit. So Ryan Johnson is back after directing the other two Knives Out movies and controversial take, my favorite Star Wars movie, The Last Jedi. But in Wake Up Dead Man, it is an interesting spin for oh, what's Daniel Craig's character's name? Oh,
is
Benoit
he?
Blanc.
Yeah,
This time his the sort of thematics of the film focus a lot on religion and Benoit Blanc
hmm,
being a heretic and not seeing a personal connection to religion, having to work with Josh O'Connell's or Connor. I'm bad on the names, but he's one of the guys from Challengers, the one that's not in West Side Story.
got it. Okay.
So he is a priest that is caught up in this a murder mystery of another priest. And yeah, it's just another murderer's row of like great actors that Ryan Johnson got together for this movie. We got Glenn Close, we got Josh Brolin, and it like the whodunit of the movie is solid. Like I didn't see it coming. I didn't like there are certain things that I expected to happen, but like the final like sort of unpulling of things, I was like, oh, this is not what I expected. But it's more like the way that it sort of touches on how religion can be different things to different people. And even if you don't like you as like Daniel Craig Blanc's character, Benoit Blanc, can have his own feelings about religion. He can still sort of view how it can serve other people. At least he can come to that realization without spoiling the movie too much that is something that sort of occurs in the film.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's I think it's the best Knives Out movie, but maybe that's controversial.
Ooh, really? I'm going to make time to watch that. Um,
You should.
and again, I just, because I already wanted to. It's just not something I was going out of my way for. But I will. I'm gonna watch it because I bet if you were saying it's your number 10, if I had watched it prior to this, it probably would have been in my top 10. Because I will say the lower half here, like all were, I'm pretty sure I talked about a
Whatever.
bunch of them, at the 6 month mark, and they're all like, oh, they made it up here for a reason. I thought back to myself, and they were good enough to be up there, but I just feel like there weren't like that many options that were easily beating them. So, but if you say that that was a 10, like that probably would have just jumped up there. But if that's all you have to say about your 10, we can move on to
It
mine.
is.
I don't have a lot to say about this 10. We did talk about the 6 month. My number 10 is Lilo and Stitch,
You know what's
which
funny? You know what's funny?
what's funny.
So I asked Martin to make a top 10 list, and rather than sort of save it for the end, because I don't suppose Angela gave you a top 10.
She did not, but I can
Okay.
extract a top five from her real quick.
What I'm thinking, I'm just gonna sort of list rather than give his top 10 at the very end. I'm just gonna check them after we clear our tens.
Hmm.
I'm just gonna say what his at the ranking is. His 10 is Lilo and Stitch.
Oh wow, cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, I just look back and like Disney, they're like here or there, right? And some of their movies still hit, and some of them totally flop, right? The Lilo and Stitch live remake, I was actually pleasantly surprised at that it was good, and I think it would have been really easy to mess it up, but I think they did it right, and I think I even recall thinking I was like, wow, they actually gave like Nani like more of a arc, and it didn't feel
yeah.
too forced. It made the movie feel pretty complete. Like there are some things about it that are like, nah, like yeah, I think Pleakley and Jumba, they made Jumba just more of like he's just a villain. They got rid of Captain Gantu, but I think it all just worked. They did their best with it, and they made some decisions, and it probably just made it work overall. And it was just good. Like good on them to actually do a good job with that remake. It could have been fumbled, but they actually did us all win, and I just remember enjoying it. So that's
Solid.
pretty much it for that. With that,
Yeah.
I can move on to my number 9.
You're number 9.
And my number 9 is I think it was on my top 10 for the 6 month. But this is a little surprising because this isn't my typical genre. But this movie made an attempt to drop a twist in, that's the kind of thing I do love. This my number 9 is Weapons. And
That was on your sixth list because it wasn't out yet.
okay. Well, I guess it wasn't. Then I'm glad I'm able to talk about it because, again, not a huge horror fan, but I do appreciate good, psychological thrillers or movies where it just makes you question, where you're like wondering, like, what is going on, right? Um, and it's got a few like gruesome elements in it that kind of just add a little bit of like impact. Um, and it has just the iconic, running thing.
The running, yeah, and
Yeah.
the icon that is Aunt Gladys,
Yes. And
Amy Madigan, possible
um,
Oscar nominee for that. We'll see.
hmm but funny, I'm just gonna say this is that there'll be times when I go for a walk with Angela and she'll be ahead of me. I always say like, don't wait for me, just I'll run to catch you. And like almost every time I put my arms out and I run like this, like a madman.
It,
Um,
it, it has supplanted the Naruto run.
yeah, it's a thing, and but I do respect. I will say, I don't think it was by any means like perfect. I don't think the ending was like great. Um, but I thought it was they were trying to do something different, right? They were trying to give us again like a mystery, like a what's going on. The way they broke up into these phases was interesting. And the resolution was pretty good. I think I was telling somebody else this is that it reminds me of I can't remember what it's called, but it's the movie where Nicolas Cage is the villain. And it's also kind of like a what's going on type movie. It was a horror movie as well. And and at the end of it, what that movie basically at the end it just said magic. It was just magic the whole time, right? But it's like right at the end, and it just like turns over, and there's no necessarily inclination before that that's what it was. It didn't give a good lead up. It just went, it was magic, it was dark black magic, and that's it. And I thought it was super lazy, very
Yeah.
disappointing, for all the build up, and really ruined that movie. Whereas here, they give us the little pieces and clues as they're leading up to it. So when it goes at the end, it says it's magic, right? It kind of makes sense. Like they actually introduce somebody who's like clearly doing it, right? Like, oh, she's a
Yeah.
witch. She has some kind of esoteric, strange magic that works very specifically, and is able to elicit this kind of reaction, if she does this in a very precise way. And because of that, it limits what it is. It doesn't just go boom, everything's magic. And so it still works. The ending still works, and was sufficiently, kind of surprising, explains everything. And then there's a little bit of a catharsis at the end, which I won't like spoil for anybody that
Yeah.
hasn't seen it. And but yeah, like I've, as far as horror movies go, that one, it wasn't great, but it was pretty good, and it really, satisfied that kind of that what I appeal to when it comes to horror films.
Well, I'm glad that it is on your list because it's not on mine. But I do like talking about weapons, and I think weapons represents a good for film. But like, yeah, definitely, it just, I think maybe in my mind I was extra excited for it because Zach Cregger came off of Barbarian, and I loved
Mm,
Barbarian so much. And so maybe I built it up a bit too much, but like it's definitely a solid movie. It's enjoyable. But yeah, like it didn't crack my top 10,
yeah.
unfortunately.
I will say, Barbarian being in that was an A movie, and I think we both loved that one. Um, that was one of the reasons that made me like, hey, I know that he did a great job of Barbarian. I am going to go see this because I once I knew that that's who the director was, I was like, we're giving him a shot. And I would go see if he brings comes out with another film, I will go see it again because
Yeah,
his track record is still solid. Like he knows how to put together a good narrative with enough punch. So
I agree.
on
I
to
agree. So
your
is that
nine.
my number nine?
Hmm.
So my number nine is, I believe this is the directorial debut of one Ava Victor, and the film is called Sorry Baby.
Hmm.
And so Sorry Baby is a movie, if you've not heard of it, it without sort of giving away what the main crux of the movie is, it's told non-chronologically. You're seeing basically snippets of this person's life. The director of the movie also plays the main character, and they are we see their life from like being in college through graduating and then going on to work at the same college, and we see life with friends prior while they're in college and then meeting up years later. And they have a friend who is pregnant and then has a baby, and sort of how that seeing their friend's life change in so many ways as they move away, have a family, have a child, while they are sort of stagnated. And the reason they are stagnated and stuck in this place when they're still living in the same town where they went to college and working at that same college, there's a reason for it. And the movie sort of explores how that event sort of has caused them to sort of be stuck in this way. And it's just it's one of those indie movies, where it's got stuff going on, and it's kind of quiet and slow at times, and it does a lot with like especially in one particular scene where you have like a sort of static shot of a building and what the implications of that shot are. And yeah, I without sort of giving away what the movie's about, which I think it's like I walked in not knowing that, and I think it's better to not know that. I just think Sorry Baby it's a movie that speaks a lot and is a strong sort of debut film for Ava Victor. I believe they got nominated for Best Actress at the Golden Globes in one
Hmm.
of the two acting categories, and I thought that was good that they got nominated for that. But yeah, Ava Victor, sorry baby.
Okay, right on. I kind of get the sense of where like the way that you talk about it in some ways. I kind of see how, again, you said that indie movie and certain shots and stuff. So I get that there's probably like a really well done, artistic, cinematographic, I guess I should say, way that the movie's put together that is impactful. And after watching a lot of the Oscar films over time,
Yeah.
where sometimes that's kind of like they just do certain things that have a lot of depth in them that give a lot of gravitas to a movie. So I can you know probably a good film is what I'm imagining.
Well, I think it's a
Duh.
good film.
Yeah.
All right, and so I'm gonna go back and mention Martin's number nine, and it's actually convenient that it says number nine, because his number nine is Sinners, and that allows me to jump straight into my number eight, which
Oh.
is Ryan Coogler's Sinners.
Hmm.
Now, this being said, it is only number eight on my list, and I I think that this movie is better than I'm giving it credit for. And I think I talked about this on the 6 month through the year list that I definitely felt my enjoyment impacted by the fact that the trailer gives away stuff about the movie that would have been a impactful and delightful surprise if it didn't do that. But it's still just a strong movie. It's still just like cinema. It is I think it's arguably arguably the best horror movie of the year, and a year where there's been some solid horror picks. I don't think it's the greatest year for horror, but it's a solid movie. It's a cinematic movie. It is
Mm,
cinema. I think it could win Best Picture. It won't, but it could probably deserve if it did win it. Yeah, it's Sinners. We all know about Sinners. It's a big deal.
hmm.
I imagine
Yes.
there's a decent chance you're going to talk about Sinners.
I will confirm there is a 100% chance that I will talk about Sinners.
So
Um,
I will save some for you.
mhm. Yes, I'll save some of my commentary for later. It will be on this list at a later point. Um, but if we're gonna move on from there, then we're moving on to my number eight, which
Indeed.
is Ballerina.
That was in
Ballerina.
your halfway through the year list.
Yes, Ballerina, not a like some kind of, stellar movie. And this is funny because like Weapons, like if Weapons was a little better, like it would have probably jumped like multiple places up. But it, again, horror's not my particular genre. It did a good, fair enough, and I did like when I looked at all the movies I watched, I was like, this definitely is on the list over. It's way better than so many other ones. Ballerina, though, while I admit the weaknesses of it are, that it's like weaker John Wick. There's things about it that are undeserved, right? Like she's basically John Wick, unstoppable against things that would, are even more deadly than what John Wick experienced. But it is just a romp. I mean, it's just another
Yeah.
John Wick movie where, character just, goes guns a-blazing and they just up the ante. They just disregarded, the practicality of her being, a smaller, lighter, less trained, person, and just were like, nah, just send it, like send it, and she's just gonna, go ape, ape shit. Um, and like I thought back to these movies, I'm like, it was just fun. It was just
Yeah.
fun, right? Like I certainly wouldn't like say in the sense of like movies, it's like objectively better than even like Weapons per se. Like I would give more acclaim to Weapons, certainly. But like I think back to it and it's still sunk in my head as being like that was fun. Like that it's the kind of movie that if it was like, playing on TV, right, just at somebody's house, you just like watch any scene of it and you just be like, nice. Like, okay, that's cool. Sick. Like just bang bang boom boom,
100%.
Um
Yeah, the movie on it's not going to be a top 10 movie
mhm.
for me, but Ballerina kicked ass. Like I had a
Yeah.
fun time watching that movie. I distinctly remember like the scene where she's using like grenades, and I feel like there's like a handful of scenes where she's just given like a unique weapon to use, and it's just like entertaining in that way that
Yep.
like Like all the shit with the flamethrower and sort of that later scene, and then seeing Keanu in the movie. I mean
Yeah,
that's in the trailer that he's in there. Like that's just
yeah,
like, a little extra spice on top. It's
yeah,
yeah, Ballerina
exactly.
kicks ass.
Yep, I just give it its laurel. Like on for that sake, and it's funny because there's maybe other movies, right, that I watched that are like more, like more artistic or more well put together and this and that. But I'll just say, like, I didn't enjoy them as much, So, but I give Ballerina its kudos for just being fun, and especially like a lot like this being a year list, so I'm reflecting across the year, and I really try to sometimes use the intuition, the thin slice. I just am looking at this list of all these movies, and I literally just go, I'm like, did I like it or not? And it just, it told me it was like, yeah. Internally, I was like, that was fun. It was a fun movie. It can make the list. So that is my number 8, Ballerina.
All right. I'm just gonna add in before you go to
Hmm.
your number seven. Martin's number eight is The Conjuring: The Last Rites, the allegedly final Conjuring movie.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
But money.
But you can go to your number seven.
On to my number 7. My number 7 is going to be Karate Kid Legends, which
Again, I think that was in your six halfway through the year list. And yeah, that movie's just fun.
it is.
I yeah.
I think I might have, and this is where it's a little further back in my memory, so it's difficult to remember. But I think I had some criticism. I think one of them was like, there's an entire plot point that could have just been
Yes,
extracted, and the movie's better for
absolutely.
it. Um,
Yeah, that because I re-listened to our halfway through the year list and we
mhm.
both were like, yeah, you just don't need that to be there.
Yeah, it could have just cut down runtime, made the movie tighter, and honestly better overall, right?
Yeah.
But it is what it is, and in the end, like if they use this as a jumping point to make some more Karate Kid movies, which they probably will, Cobra Kai universe Karate Kid, I would be honestly totally fine with it. And I
Yeah.
enjoyed it. It was still put together well, even for its little weaknesses, and amongst again just a lot of like meh movies this year, it was fun and left you at the end being like, yeah, you did it, and Cobra Kai. So,
Yeah.
Cobra Kai never dies. So,
Oh, yeah. I watched that. I think I watched that with you when you were in town, right? Like we went to
um,
go see that together.
maybe
I think with
it might be the
Dad.
case. Very,
I
very
think
possible.
there's a definite chance that that happened, and yeah, it's just fun. It's just
Hmm.
like if you like a Karate Kid movie, this is another one, but
Yep.
it's not one of the ones that's bad.
Yep. Exactly. So that's about all I have to say about that. So on to your number 7, or I don't know if you want to touch on Martin's 7 now or after you finish.
So it's funny. I checked. We have the same number seven, and it is the Netflix sensation, the song soundtrack of the year. Sing it if you know the words. We're going up, up, up. It's our moment. K-pop Demon Hunters, number seven for both of us.
Wow, it's funny. I actually saw a like kind of random review online where like the guy the normally this guy would like rip stuff to shreds and he was like, actually, this was pretty good. So I'm
It's
not I'm
it.
I'm like not super surprised to
You
hear
ever,
you
you
say
ever,
that.
have you not watched it then?
No, I have not.
Brother, it's just fun. Well, like it is a good movie. I think it is helped a lot by having such a good soundtrack, and it is like it is filled with bops.
Hmm.
There are many songs in the movie, and they are all like either fine or legitimately like great, like you want to sing along to them. And
Wow.
particularly if you like a sort of K-pop genre of music.
Hmm.
But yeah, like and the acting's quite good. I wrote down. I've been trying to name directors. This one has two directors, Maggie Kang and Chris Appelons. Um, uh, Also, this is my only animated film, technically only animated film. I'll talk about why there's technically there. This is my only animated film that made my top 10 this year.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's like there's a reason it's been like within Netflix's top 10 most watched movies since it came out in the summer. There's a reason like the songs are playing on terrestrial radio stations. It's just it's just a good time. But then the movie also has like, like, and you could say that it's like a cliche, like sort of storylines, but like all storylines are cliche, all themes are cliche.
Yeah,
It does its job. It does. I feel like I've not delved into a lot of discussions on K-pop Demon Hunters, but I'm sure there's a lot of opinions out there, and I don't think I've ever heard anyone say that the movie is bad.
respect. You were saying, it's a little cliche. Hey, there's nothing new under the sun. The only things that are cliche are something something that everybody knows that's done poorly. So,
All right. So does that mean I get to go to my number six? Because you did your
um,
seven already?
yes,
All right.
correct.
So my number six is the Stephen King adaptation, The Long Walk.
Ah, man, see, there are a handful of movies that I saw and was like, man, I'd like to go see that. And then again, just life, again, not like I wouldn't have seen that. It's that I would have and didn't get out there to see it. And so, tell me a little more about it. I mean, because I get the general gist of it, but
So I just want to check the director, Francis Lawrence, and I also want to note because this is definitely a more character-driven thing by the actors. But yeah, so the conceit of the thing is that there is a basically a contest held where a kid from every state is signs up to compete in the long walk competition where you start walking, you have to keep a pace of, I think it's like 3 or 3.5 miles per hour, and you just have to stay walking until only one's left, only one person's left. And whoever wins, they get to make a wish, and whatever the wish is, it will be granted. Um, and yeah, you're just watching these kids walk. It's like you get some like flashback stuff, particularly for the main character of like stuff that happened before it, but for the most part, you're just watching these people walk and talk to each other.
hmm
But it's the way that they build camaraderie with each other, even knowing that the friends that they make are all gonna die and maybe they're gonna die. But like the way that like it really just stands on the cast. And so I need to so Cooper Hoffman, Philip Seymour Hoffman's son, he plays the probably the main character, the kid that you see sort of leave his mom drops him off and like the mom's like, wrecked about it because, she knows what's gonna happen, most likely. And the other one is David Johnson, who is these are the two main kids. They're technically adults, I think, but they're definitely young adults that go on this walk and are friends, and maybe one of them wins. Who knows? You gotta watch the movie. But yeah, it's like these two really like all the kids are pretty strong actors, but these two really fucking carry this shit.
hmm
Like any scene that they're just talking to each other, it should get boring just watching people talk to each other and walk around. But nah, it's gripping. Like
hmm
at nighttime, like there's like a thing where like they are like basically falling asleep as they walk and like they sort of have to like check each other like, oh, you fell asleep for a little bit, like, and like the way that they like sort of rely on each other, but also like some of them are maybe like fucking with each other to like get an advantage and like get rid of other people.
hmm
Yeah, it's just compelling shit. And like a strong cast all around. And you know what? Ben Wong, who is the Karate Kid, he is also in this movie. And
Nice.
the whole thing is led by a major played by Mark Hamill.
Oh wow, I didn't
And
realize
we
Mark
like,
Hamill was in it.
yeah, he's also in the SpongeBob movie.
Interesting.
But
That's one thing is that you have to be like I'm sure Stephen King, right? If he wrote a book of it, like he gave plenty of material to work off of. But this is where, right, your ability to direct and put together a movie really shines when the material is something that should be, again, like could very easily be boring if not done correctly. So, um, I I respect that, and then and honestly, it offers the opportunity for it to shine even more, like the character and the conversations.
The thing is, I looked up, there's actually quite a bit of difference. Like in the novel, apparently there's 100 people, not 50.
Mm,
And the ending is different.
mm,
There's also more Stephen King supernatural stuff, which does not, you don't get like supernatural stuff in this movie.
ah,
That's kind maybe a spoiler, but there are
I
definitely
mean,
changes made.
fair enough. But if that means that he actually, well, because the thing is, Stephen King, he's got like almost a world and a universe, so him playing into some of his own things makes sense. Whereas this movie, you wouldn't want
The
it to.
Long Walk
Mhm.
is also something I think it's the first thing he ever wrote, like before he
Oh,
like was publishing stuff, or like it's something he made a long time ago too.
oh, interesting.
So
Hmm.
yeah, but I think that's your number six then to do.
That would bring us to my number six, which is Superman. Um,
Superman, solid.
Superman movie that came out this year, right? Superhero movies are dead, right? Marvel's dead. Marvel's dying. DC was dead way long ago. James Gunn coming in to try and reboot things. I don't know if he's going to be able to bring back superhero movies, the DCU. But I think his direction here with Superman was enjoyable. Like there's like aspects of it where it's like I think like a little bit of his style is a little maybe like egregious in certain parts. Like, but like there is some fun to be had here. Like it's a different kind of fun than like the Marvel funniness, right?
Hmm.
And what I just liked is that one, what I loved is that we did not redo the Superman origin story. We just skipped forward. We said everybody knows who Superman is. Let's have a story about him, like where everybody knows what's going on. I don't know why that was just so impactful for me. I'm like, thank you. Thank you for not trying to reboot and like start us from scratch. We don't need it. Everybody knows what's going on. Just get us right into the meat of it. And you still have this heartening story of Superman overall, and like at the end of it you kind of feel that exultant nature, where he's overcoming things, and you don't feel like they do a good enough job being like he is literally Superman, but also you don't feel like I'm literally impenetrable like I am the typical like single biggest negative about Superman the hero is he's just unkillable Superman and like can't everything is all about finding a way to make him feel weak. This makes him still strong but noble, and like weakness, like that he's not just like undefeatable, but he is clearly like he's the Superman. So I think it did a good job. I remember walking out of there being like, wow, that was like good, man. That was I'm satisfied with that. This is good enough that I think you could push forward into this DCU, and this would be a better direction than it was ever going before. So, but yeah, makes it to my six.
Yeah, I agree basically totally. I think that's arguably the best superhero movie of the year. I also quite like Fantastic Four. I thought Thunderbolts was pretty good. No superhero movie made my top 10, unfortunately though, which is really sad because like only a couple years ago, like I solidly had a superhero movie in my top 10 every fucking year. Every year, no question. And I love superhero movies and I still want to see them and I still want to enjoy them, but I do like the fatigue did hit and
Yeah,
like they got kind of got to work it back and but I definitely think that the video game movie is the next thing it's going to sort of supplant.
that you
So,
are so correct. That is my call. I was calling it
yeah.
basically like right after Sonic came out. I was like, this is gonna be the new thing. Or no, sorry. After Mario came out, it cemented it that video
Yeah.
game movies done well are going to be the new thing.
We got
And we're gonna see,
Galaxy and Street Fighter coming out this next year.
yeah,
The Zelda movies in the works. I think that's the future.
yep,
But
it
superhero
is.
movies, I don't want them to disappear completely, but they they lost a bit of the shine,
Yeah,
and it is what it is.
they let poor writing. They just basically they took advantage. The corporate overlords literally were like, this prints money, put anything out, rush it, get it done, and they sacrificed good stories and started and stopped, really trying to like give us good stories and started trying to just give us what they thought would get our money. We could have an entire thing about that, but
Yeah.
I agree
But
with you.
but I want to compliment Superman though
Yeah.
because it did the thing that hadn't been done before, and it made me interested in Superman. And I because I've
Yep.
never cared about Superman, but I like this Superman, and
Yep.
I'd be interested in seeing more of him.
Now,
Before you roll into your
uh-huh.
number five, Martin's number six is a movie called Hard Eyes.
Hard Eyes. That's like a horror-ish movie.
Yeah, it
Okay.
came out around Valentine's Day last year, and yeah, it's fun.
Okay.
Fun little slasher.
If I can roll right into my five, because you kind of touched on it a
Yes.
little bit, is my five is Fantastic Four. So
Oh,
in a,
you know what? I'm happy you have it above Superman because I also agree it's better than Superman.
yeah, in a year again of, superhero movies haven't been great. These are like those things like restoring a little faith. Here's the thing, like I just believe they are dead. Like they're behind. You're right. They aren't going to stop existing. But Marvel's coming back and they just kind of went back to basics with let's just give these guys like a good story, Let's, and I just think they did it. Like they executed a better overall, like I think, or a simpler, better, like more tight kind of plot than Superman. Superman is again, it's a little there's some excesses in certain ways. And Fantastic Four is they just kept it tight and gave us what I think everybody would hope. And they went a little bit of like the retro futuristic thing, and I thought that was cool. Um, and also new cast, right? Like, they didn't use like a bunch of like big names other than Pedro Pascal, who's in everything. So, it's really just like he's
Uh,
not there.
yeah, Pedro Pascal. I definitely know all three of the other ones. Vanessa Kirby. I like she was like in Mission Impossible movies, I believe. And then I'm
Maybe, I
blanking on his
guess.
name, but we got Eddie Munson from Stranger
Oh my
Things.
God, I didn't realize that he was Eddie Munson. Wow.
And then the thing, he's someone in The Bear. I don't watch that show, but
Hmm.
he's like I don't know who he is. I can picture his face, but he's in that show.
Yeah. Again, just to say, like, of course they've probably been in stuff. It's just one of those like, are they like the, actors that we literally all know that keep circulating around kind of thing? Is it Chris Pratt, friggin' Timothy Chalamet, Zendaya, Pedro
Well,
Pascal? Like
the thing is, Pedro Pascal, there were three movies within a month that all came out with him. It's that, Eddington, and
materialists?
Materialist all
Yeah.
came out within like a month of each other, and people were like, too much Pedro Pascal. And
Yeah.
I disagree. All three of those movies were, well, I don't, Eddington's kind of meh,
Hmm.
but I liked Materialist and I liked Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Leave
Materialist
Pedro
was
Pascal
good.
alone.
It was good for what it was, right? I'm also
Yeah.
not a genre I'm super into, but I give it its flowers for what it was. Um, that would then, like, I broke right into the top five pretty quick. So,
Yeah.
top five, we're already in
We're in our
there.
top fives. Yes.
But that will take us over to your top five. Um, go ahead, my man.
So for my number five, we have a new Yorgos Lanthimos film, Begonia, starring Jesse Plemons and Emma Stone. Have you heard of this one?
I think maybe I saw a trailer for it. Like Emma Stone is what actually like reminds me that I saw her in something. But no, not I don't like it doesn't really
S-
pique my memory.
So Begonia is about Jesse Plemons, along with his, I believe it's his cousin in the film, plays this sort of conspiracy theorist guy who believes that there are aliens controlling everything, and so they set out and they decide to kidnap one of these aliens, and one of these aliens happens to be a CEO of a major company, played by Emma Stone, and so they kidnap her, and then it's just the sort of face off between these two people of him trying to get her to admit that she's an alien and her trying to get out of this situation. And is she an alien? Hmm. Huh? Is this conspiracy theorist right? What? Huh? It's a wild
Hmm.
ride.
Hmm. Interesting.
And
Interesting.
oh, it also it does not help her case that they shave her head off, and so we get a bald Emma Stone with her like bright blue eyes, and they like rub lotion on her body. So like low key, you're looking at her and it's like, She kind of looks like an alien though, bro.
Interesting. That is
But yeah,
interesting.
yeah, it is certainly an interesting movie, and it's just a lot of like these, like you basically have these three characters. There's like some characters that show up throughout, or like we see like flashbacks of like Jesse Plemons' mom's character, but it's mostly these three, and the third person, the cousin, he's like a autistic, and so like he sort of is just like being guided by Jesse Plemons' character, but then he also sort
Hmm.
of like feels like he gets the sense that like maybe what they're doing is wrong, and Emma Stone's definitely trying to get him to like sort of help her out.
Hmm.
And so yeah, there's a lot of dynamics to it, and yeah, it's just a good little romp, that Begonia.
Hmm.
But yeah, so I definitely recommend you watch it. I think there's a chance that it might get an Oscar nom, so you might end up having to watch it anyways,
Hmm.
but we shall see. And before we go to number four, I'd like to say Martin has a number five of Zootopia 2, which
Oh,
that movie is a delight. I quite like
is it?
Zootopia 2. Yeah.
Utopia 1 was pretty good. Speaking
Yes.
of Martin's number five, I actually went and got a Texeter and I got a 10. I got 10 from Angela. So I'm actually going to run back through these real quick
Run it
and catch us
back.
up to where we are. So her 10, Wicked for Good.
All right.
Her 9, Conjuring Last Rites.
Oh.
Her 8, One Battle After Another. Her 7, Fantastic Four. Her 6, Avatar, Ash and Fire. And her number 5, Ballerina. So,
Ah,
you know,
interesting
it's
stuff going on.
interesting. Yeah, I mean,
Interesting stuff going on.
yes, yes, quite. Speaking of, her list does lead me into my number 4. Actually, are we on your number 4?
It is my number four.
It is your number 4.
And
Run it.
y- it's actually funny because one of the movies on her list is my number four.
God.
And it is Avatar, Fire and Ash.
Well, it's also my number 4.
Let's
Whoa.
go. So
It
it,
always
it is
happens. At least one on every list.
it is my understanding that you just watched this movie.
I watched it today, literally,
Yes.
and hours before this podcast, right? Just to try and slide one more in there. I literally looked at like what's in theaters. You know what? Let's just get one more in.
And you know what? James Cameron does what James Cameron does.
Yep. It's I have okay, I have a whole lot of things to say about it, right? I'm pretty fresh off of it. A lot of criticisms. I give this movie like a B minus, right? And there's enough wins in here that get it into B, but and I'm gonna be a little critical right now. I'm gonna throw out the critiques really fast, which is this feels like we took some of one, elements from one, the plot of number two, and then did 10x on the fight and was like, boom, number three. Also, fire people. That's kind of just this movie.
You're actually completely correct, but that's why it's good because it's
Yeah,
it's it's a better version of the first two movies.
yeah, and so it's just enhanced. But in the end, I was like, there's a bunch of things that are like, as far as like kind of retreading elements, but it's just, I mean, it looks great. Like it hit. What always gives me bonus points is when something actually pulls in my heartstrings. Like it really gets me. And this one hit me a few times, right? Not strong, not like, oh my God, that's so,
Yeah.
but it pulled the heartstrings. I was like, wow, well done, well done. Like even while I was watching it, I'm like, this is like the same thing I happened in the first movie. But like still, like I was in it. This was a good ride. It was good. It was satisfying, right? Like if I gave points to Ballerina for just being a good, like fun and stuff, like this was solid
Literally,
movie.
literally, when you're talking about Ballerina being a fun movie, I'm like, this is my thoughts on Avatar: Fire and
Hmm.
Ash. Is it like Shakespearean, like like is it the highest of high art? No, but it is cinema,
It is
absolute
cinema.
cinema, and
Hmm.
it is fun. And I care about most of these characters. Jake Sully just needs to die, quite frankly.
Yeah.
But I like Kiri. I like Neytiri. I
Hmm.
I like Spider. You know what?
Yeah.
Spider is cool. And I don't like all these people saying that Spider's actor is awful. You know what? He has to act against like fucking green screen shit because he's the only human there.
Yeah, word. Um, but yeah, it's a spectacle, and it's solid, decent for all my critiques and whatnot. Like it was like again this year, if there were just a bunch of other banger movies this year or something, it might have been like it's kind of weak amongst all. But I'm like, no, like it's a pretty solid story amongst a bunch of like meh all year. So, and again,
Yeah,
spectacle. It's just like you said, absolute cinema.
cinema.
Bam, both our
So
fours.
and unfortunately, it is not Martin's four. His four is How to Train Your Dragon. Which it's interesting to note that was his number one at the halfway through the year list, and he has three movies that he has seen since that he puts above it.
Mm-hmm.
So, ooh,
Angela's number four, The Materialists,
I see.
which
It's a good movie.
yeah, which I would give it like honorable mention. Like again, not my kind of movie, but I was like respect, decent, like good movie.
I
Um,
had it as an honorable mention, I think, at the halfway mark.
mhm. Um, does that mean it's my three now, or
I don't know, but I do want to know. Earlier, I mentioned that I'm Still Here should technically be on this list, but I don't want to talk about it again.
Mhm.
I'm Still Here is my, it would be technically at number four, but where, yeah, I've talked about it
Fair
enough.
enough.
It's a great movie. I'm Still Here.
Well, I'm
So
just
with
gonna
that,
I'm gonna hit my number three,
go for it.
and my number three is me finishing the conversation that started earlier with Sinners,
Uh-huh.
which is you know Ryan Coogler went for a unique idea, and while I also commented that there were some weaknesses in it, it was great, and it reached a little too far, and I think there are things that could have been improved it and made it like a like an A movie. It could have been an A movie for me, but there were just a few things, a little few overreaches, a little bit that was like unnecessary, but I just love that it was trying to do something a little different and give us something kind of fresh with using some elements we could all like, and there's a bunch to love in it, and it's Sinners is
You know
good.
what's Yeah, you know how you know a movie already has a reputation of just being good when like we have it on our top 10 list and we like feel like the need to point out the reasons why it's not number one on our list rather
Yeah,
than talk about why it's good because I think
yeah,
everyone kind of knows it's good.
yep,
And I do want that to like because I think in both of our we it's almost like we're like having to say, "Oh, yeah, it's great. We wished it was better," and that it is kind of I did it. It feels so close to being amazing,
hmm
and it's very good. And I think for many people, it is amazing, but it does miss on just a couple little things that kind of keep it from being that perfection. But it is cinema.
it is, it is indeed. Well, with that said, your number three. I
My
hope
number three,
I'm gonna say real quick before you say these. Now we're in our top threes. I really hope
top
that we have
threes.
another movie on this top three that is the same. So you go ahead and give it to me
I
real quick.
I have a feeling we won't,
Ooh,
because
okay.
I don't think you've seen this movie, and
Okay.
I'm not sure if you've seen the next movie.
Hmm.
Um, and I hope you've seen the number one. But my number three is the film Eternity.
I've not seen that.
Uh, Starring Elizabeth Olsen, Miles Teller, Callum Turner, and directed by David Frayne. This is a little movie. It came out like within the last month, so there's a part of me that wonders if there's recency bias. Same thing to be said about Avatar. Same thing to be said about my number two movie. But Eternity, basically, the plot of the movie is a old man dies, and he's sent to this sort of like junction place where you
Oh.
yeah, where you basically pick where you spend your eternity. And he knows that soon after his wife is going to pass on. And so when she shows up, he is like, all right, so we kind of we're going to go spend our eternity together. It turns out that her first husband that had died tragically decades ago, like 50 or 60 years ago, had been waiting to for her to show up so that he could spend eternity with her and has waited this whole time for her. And now she's sort of forced to decide to pick the love that she never got to like take to actually see where it goes or the person that she's, spent all these years with. And I it it feels like not that great of a movie. It's like quirky. It's like a silly little movie in a lot of ways. It's not the highest cinema, but I just really dug it, and I really
Mhm.
dug the exploration of
That question that
yeah.
question posed by that movie is really fantastic. Like, what an
I
interesting thing.
It genuinely is. And it like goes back and forth. Like you go back and forth on like what you think she should pick. And like ultimately it's not in anyone's thing to pick. It is like love is like you can love two separate people in that way and in this way she loved this one man and she loved this other man and there's a complicated thing about it and the movie explores those things but then it's also quite funny. It's like fun. Like Miles Teller is like he's Miles Teller. He's like I don't know how old he is at this point, but he's
Mhm.
20s, maybe early 30s, but he's playing this like crotchety old man like inside of him. Like there's this whole bit where like him and Elizabeth Olsen, because they're old people and they're just squat and she's just like, oh my knees. Oh, I haven't been able to do this in years. Because in this place they're however they felt their happiest and they're in their 20s when they're happy or what have you.
Mhm.
But yeah, Eternity. I like this movie.
I remember seeing
It's
the
my number
trailer for it
three.
and thinking like, "Whoa, wow, that looks it." Like I thought it looked interesting from the trailer. I'm trying to think when I saw it. It was I think I saw the trailer like the last time I was in the theaters. It might have been actually when I went to see Wicked. Yeah, Wicked for good.
It probably because it came out like December, November-ish.
Yeah.
And like honestly, I think I kind of saw it on a whim because it's like I had my Regal thing and I was like, "Oh, I'll go see this movie. It
Hmm.
looks like it's pretty good." And I'm glad I did because I really responded to it. But so did you already do your three?
I did. So you're doing to do your number two.
Well, first I will talk about Martin's
Ah,
three
yes.
is The Black Phone 2
And
and
Angela's three is weapons.
ah. Some overlap, not always in the same
Hmm.
places, but some overlap. All
Funny
right,
enough,
so
pretty sure we watched all the movies that we watched. I watched with her. So
so there's a movie that now I'm expecting to be in your top two. That's not going to be in mine.
hmm.
But at number two, I have Josh Safdie's new movie with Timothée Chalamet, Marty Supreme.
Interesting. I literally had never heard of that until I went to see Avatar this morning and walked in and saw Marty Supreme as a giant billboard right above, and I was like, "Huh, what's that even about?"
You remember Uncut Gems?
Yeah.
So this is the guy that directed that, or one of the guys that directed that.
Hmm.
So that kind of vibe of a movie, but
Hmm.
this time it's Timothy Chalamet and he plays ping pong. And again, this could very well be recency bias because I saw this movie what like a week or two ago. Like maybe, very well, maybe that I'm like just saw it too recently, but it made me react watching it, like because if you've seen Uncut Gems, even if you haven't seen this movie,
Hmm.
that sort of like where like this person's like has made a bad decision and you're just waiting to see the consequence of that decision at
Uh,
certain points, or like the way like this sort of like sort of frantic anxious energy
yeah.
almost of like stuff going on and like you're just like well how like also that like in Uncut Gems you have this character who's like like kind of frustrating because it's like they're not a good person.
Hmm.
And I don't want to give away too much about it because I feel like there's a good chance you will end up watching it because I think it has a chance at a Best Picture nomination. um but yeah, it's just a wild, frantic ride. And in a year where we kind of said that I have more to say on this when we get to my number one. but in a year where we feel like it hasn't been necessarily the greatest year in cinema and movies in general, Marty Supreme made me feel.
All
And
right.
Timothy Chalamet deserves an Oscar. He didn't last. There's some upset that he didn't get it last year, but Adrian Brody cleared his ass last year. Let's be real. This year he does deserve it.
Hmm.
And
Fair
his
enough.
only competition is Leonardo DiCaprio in One Battle After Another. That's his main competition.
All right. Well, then I guess he's gonna win it because I wasn't like wowed by one battle after another. So,
All right. Well,
well,
what's your number two then,
my number two.
your brother?
This is what I was hoping would be in your top two, but I mean, maybe it's not. Maybe it's just not. Is Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein?
It is unfortunately not, and I have a very specific. It is an honorable mention for me,
Hmm.
but I honestly, it's kind of messed up because it's just like one line in the movie that kind of like tips me so. But it was like was almost in my top 10, very much so.
Yeah, I just thought it was. I mean, Guillermo del Toro's style on this movie, it was just done really well. I mean, and here's the thing. It's like, what is the Frankenstein story? You ever read the original? Do you know what it is? I just know whatever retellings I've ever seen. My
Yeah,
thought is like, I'm assuming that this is close to like the real original, like Mary Shelley
that is my
story.
understanding. That's my
And
understanding.
it's, there's just there's so much about it that's like big and again, it's very Guillermo del Toro, like stuff that's over the top, but also like he kind of reins himself in a little bit to let the story just speak for itself. Um, and just how we go on this journey and really connect with Frankenstein's monster
The
and so
creature,
much,
as
yeah,
I think, I
the creature,
believe
I
it's the
think,
creature. Yeah,
yeah.
because he's not
Um,
a monster.
yeah, he's not a monster. And really great, like interesting, like visual storytelling and just the acting, profound. Apparently,
Oscar Isaac, Jacob
yeah,
Elordi, Mia Goth.
yeah. I think you might have been one that mentioned to me that the creature is, he was, you were like, oh, it's the guy from Saltburn, and I was like, what? And then I'm like, sitting there, I'm like, oh, damn, bro, like
The
that's,
the the rich guy from Saltburn, not Barry
yeah,
Keoghan.
yeah, exactly. And I was like, wow, like interesting. It's just a. It's just really well done, just really well directed, really well put together. Like everything about it. It's a movie where I'm like, it's not perfect, but it's kind of flawless. And
Yeah.
like, there's nothing bad about it. There's no weak points. There's no like, it's not like I've used that phrase before, right? It's not a perfect movie, but it is flawless. I didn't have anything I could say that was bad, like, oh, that was weird, or this is weak, or this didn't match, or it's just really good.
Can I tell you my kind of dumb criticism, but
Yes,
like in a way that
please.
sort of takes like it is when Victor's brother, I believe it's his brother, straight
Mhm.
up sort of says to him, "You're the monster." I'm like, brother, we don't we this doesn't need to be in the text like this. We should be able to just understand that you didn't like that's the one thing where I'm like, come on, you're
Yeah,
doing so good.
fair enough. That one didn't jump out to me, but honestly, now you say it, like I do get that. I get where it's like, did you need to say that? But what if hey, what if that was word for word what was in the story? What if they were literally like,
It
he says
you
it.
know what? If it wasn't, I'll take it back. If Mary Shelley wrote that prose,
Yeah. And I respect that. Those are there are just I can understand where there's just some little thing that's like meh, that was meh, but yeah, flawless movie, really. Someday, and this is one of those ones where it's tough for me to say like, you know, why why is it not perfect, right? There's something about it where what I'll say this is I think I had a couple of heartstring moments, but when a movie is like a true A plus, not only and it has it makes me like you said it makes me feel right. A movie's
yes.
an A plus or a movie is perfect when not only does it execute what it's trying to do like with no flaws, but also it makes me feel. And I always go back to Everything Everywhere All at Once. perfect execution of what it was trying to do while making me feel. And that one could have had a tough time doing so. This one, it did, but just not like a lot. It didn't make me
Yeah.
feel a lot. Um, and so that's probably the best way I can say, if there's something missing, right? And I don't know
There
I just don't know what he could have done better to make that happen, but
it may
that's
there may have been a coldness to how sort of the like the sort of cinematic and like texture of the film
hmm
maybe almost keeps you removed from it because in the Guillermo del Toro fashion it feels like a fairy tale. It doesn't feel
hmm
like I don't know.
You know what I'll say is that even if we really understand how the creature's not, like evil or bad, we spend a lot of time connecting with Victor and sort of understanding why he gets there. So it's hard to, even if you're supposed to really like, think he's the monster,
Mm,
it's kind of tough. You're just kind of like, yeah, maybe he is, but like
Well,
I've kind of seen why this guy got to this place. So,
yeah, but at the same time, he's just repeating his own father. So, like, if
hmm
the father's a villain, then so is Victor,
hmm
because
yeah,
he may have someone may have done it to him first, but he decided to keep doing it.
yep. The cycle never ends.
So, what is Angela's number two?
Angela's number two is pulling it up. Final Destination Bloodlines.
It's a fun movie.
I don't know if it was number two
I
worthy, but I respect her list. That's how she feels.
And so the reason I asked for her number two first is because saying Martin's number two will lead directly into my number one. And Martin's number two is Better Man.
Wow. So good he bought a
Better Man
DVD.
was my number one movie halfway through the year,
hmm
and at the end of the year, it's still my number one. And the point I had to make earlier about how I felt this year was a little weak, this is the first movie I watched in a theater last year.
Wow.
The first movie I went to go see in a theater. It is a movie that was in Oscar contentions for the last Oscars. It is a movie that released in other countries in 2024. So the movie that I enjoyed most in 2025 is a decidedly 2024 movie.
Wow.
But you know what? I watched it a third time the other day, and that's how Martin actually got it on his list because he hadn't watched it. So I finally got him to watch it with the New Year ending. And you know what? The third time watching it, it holds up for me. I cried at the end of it. My number one song of the year on both Spotify and YouTube Music was a song from this movie that I play all the time.
Wow.
And God, I love Better Man. It's a great movie.
Damn. I wish I'd
And you
seen it
never
when you
watched it, did
and I
you?
never watched it. Oh man. Well, I mean, it being on your number one twice, I promise I will watch it by the end of February. Maybe not this month,
I
but by the end of February, I will watch this movie.
and the thing is that I think I worry now that I have it hyped up because I've had it so much and like I haven't wanted to pester you about it because I don't want to signal like it's still my number one.
Ah, yes.
But But I think, like, again, like, in a lot of ways, it follows a lot of normal biopic trappings. Like, it's like, oh, he's doing drugs. Oh,
hmm
reckless lifestyle. Oh, but he's risen up. Oh, but now he's going to rehab. He's
But
he's he's trying to be a better man.
I mean, hey, notwithstanding, that doesn't mean it can't be, a number one peak cinema. So,
You know what? Like, I almost feel crazy liking it as much as I did because I remember leaving, like, I gave an initial review to this movie and I was like, I thought it was really fun, but like,
mhm.
I guess it was just a boring biopic. But nah, it's not a boring biopic because he's a fucking CGI monkey.
Yeah. Oh man.
And
Okay.
I don't know who the fuck Robbie Williams is. I'd never heard of this guy before this shit because I don't live in the UK. I'm an American and we don't do Robbie Williams, but now I do because he made a CGI monkey movie from the director of The Greatest Showman.
Oh man. Well, yeah. Now I feel like I have to watch this movie. I will go out of my way to watch it now. Not that I would
Good.
didn't intend to before, but now I'm gonna make it a thing. I'm gonna make an extra
I
thing. This thing was number one like three times at this point. So
well, only two times, but
only two times.
within the same year.
Hmm. Two times in the same year. That it stood the test of time. Literally.
It, from it was first thing up and nothing beat it. This whole year I'm like,
Hmm.
well, that wasn't better than Better Man.
Hmm. Okay. Well, with that
Now
is
you're
now
number
my
one.
my number one, which funny, I would say, Frankenstein landed at a solid A, not an A plus, because it didn't hit that emotional point. And I given different rankings, different things on here, but my number one, funny enough, is actually an F. It's an F1.
Oh, it's still your number one. I
It's
should have
still my
remembered
number
that.
one. I literally went back and literally thought about like I went and I looked at this list and I thought about it and I'm like F1 is still the like pretty much the best movie of this year, which obviously I didn't watch nearly as many movies. So granted, like there could have been better ones. That is peak cinema. And I go back to being like I don't know just like you don't know anything about Robbie Williams. I don't know anything about F1. It's a different kind of race car. They're faster, and they have to drive them slightly differently. Never watched an F1 race. No practical interest in F1 racing. It's not about that. It doesn't matter. You don't have to like F1 racing at all. You don't need to know anything about it. It is a flawless and it is like a perfect movie. It's an A plus. I walked out of there being like not even believing how good it was. I was like, how could you put together such a good movie and it's just about freaking F1 racing? And it was so good and it did hit I even remember now. I'm like this this made me feel. This made me you know exultant at the moments when the races were going good or when the bad thing happens and stuff. I was on that roller coaster with them. And literally, I think I didn't, I don't know if I gave it an actual A plus at the time.
So, the note, because I re-listened to
Hmm.
our podcast,
Hmm.
you had just seen the movie before recording the podcast that
Hmm.
time. You
Yeah.
literally got out of the movie and then we recorded this. So
Hmm.
I think
So,
you were trying to like tamp down your things
hmm
on it. Like you weren't willing to give it the A plus
yeah,
at that
I
time.
was, I was literally like recency bias. I might have just walked out of it. Let me modulate my, how I feel about it.
Yeah.
I'll come back 6 months later. That that movie is fantastic. I go back and I'm like, yep, look, literally it was the first thing when I looked at the entire list. I was like, this is number one. First thing I starred when I was checking things off, I was like, this is number one. I actually really don't. I already know nothing else is better than this movie this year. And again, like I'm not going to say objectively like there isn't potentially a better movie, maybe from one of the ones that you saw, but like on my list, it just hands down, that was a perfect movie. Again, for something that and you know what I'll even say is like maybe it was easy to make a perfect movie because it wasn't complicated. They just put together a good, what's not the I won't say rags to riches. It's not rag to riches. Redemption story.
Yeah.
Kind of a redemption story. Old dog with young cat. They put their things together. They butt heads a little bit. Tragedy strikes, but they overcome. Like just all the simple
In many
elements
ways,
done well.
in many ways, it's using some stuff that from Top Gun Maverick, but obviously
Yeah.
not it's not the exact same movie in
Yeah.
any way, really. But like it definitely, shares some DNA there. And I
Yeah.
think like just like Top Gun Maverick was cinema, this
Hmm.
is cinema.
Yeah.
It's meant for you to watch it in a theater, and I'm glad I
Hmm.
saw it in a theater.
Oh
And
man.
yeah.
Granted, I didn't even remember this until you said it right now. I watched it in D-Box. So
Ooh.
that made it pretty great. I was literally moving. I was literally, like, and so that made it pretty
Was it the
sweet.
D-Box or the 4DX?
Um, it was a slightly moving and vibrating seat with like speakers in it. So whichever that one is.
That might be the 4DX, But either way, yeah, your number one and
Hmm.
my number one are the same one from 6 months ago. How
Yeah.
exciting.
Just
But
shows what the last 6 months were like. Also,
Martin's number one has changed.
oh yes, and then Angela's, let me make sure I mentioned here, is well deserved Sinners.
Very fair.
Yep,
Martin's is Avatar, Fire and Ash.
respect. I will say also you could even throw out like some, there's maybe an element of I said this to you before we started recording, which is that the last five movies I've seen were in the last 30 days. So there was really like just a few months where I pretty much didn't I mean maybe saw one a month practically. And then I pretty much was like you mentioned obviously I was doing the podcast a few weeks ago and then I kind of was like, "Oh, better get some of these in." And so I did kind of push and try to get a few more movies in that time. But yeah, it's there and granted that here's the thing about movies, right? Is that there are always those ones that slip through where you see the trailers and stuff, but maybe it doesn't grab you, or they kind of fly under the radar, the indie type movies. There's plenty, like a lot of I appreciate you watch so many movies because you're able to capture some of those ones that are maybe often overlooked that are like gems hidden out there. And, but it's just that it hasn't felt like it feels like I go and I look at a general list and I'm like, none of this looks very interesting. And I can almost tell, like I can read trailers pretty well and be like, it doesn't matter how you cut and edit this. I could tell if this is probably kind of garbo.
I definitely had a lot of three to fours, and I'm definitely more 3 to 4 on a five scale. I'm definitely more kind to movies in
Mm,
general when I rate them than I think you are. But like on that 3 to 4, like I enjoyed my time with that, but like there not a ton. Whereas like cinema,
hmm
movie, this is why I go. Like there have been ones like that, and even the ones that are like that, like I sometimes leave them like I'm gonna remember that movie. I don't know if it's the greatest movie like of
hmm
that kind that I've seen, but I'll at least remember it. Something like Bring Her Back, which I keep thinking back about, and I'm like, God, I want to like that movie more than I did in
hmm
a lot of ways, but it still, was impactful. It still mattered.
Yeah.
While we have some time left, I want to quickly shout out the three. I'm just gonna do a three worst, or you know what? I'm just gonna do two worst because I haven't had that much that I outright hated. The worst movie I saw this year was Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare, which is in that universe with Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
Uh-huh.
For this movie, they decided, what if we just rip off the black phone, but instead of the grabber, it's Peter Pan, and he has a transgender slave person, and that's Tinkerbell.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
awful, truly trash. But if we're not looking at trash movies, if we're looking at what does Hollywood have to offer us, my worst like big budget movie of the year is Jurassic World Rebirth,
Jurassic
which
World
was
Afterbirth.
fucking boring. A fucking snore.
He said an absolute snores fest. Can I throw out some? I want to throw out just a couple quickie like commentaries, right? One, I just want to say, Wicked for Good. I thought the first movie was great. Wicked for Good is meh AF. I actually
Yeah,
like am mad at how like mid that movie was. Barely good enough, kind of okay, not satisfied.
but that's in
Um,
the source material.
yeah, like granted, it's some of the things. Captain America 4. I actually went and tried to watch that. I literally couldn't even get through about 30
I
minutes
I
before
told you
I gave
not
up.
to.
I
You
literally, like I
didn't need
tried. I
to.
literally wanted
You
to give it a
didn't need
shot.
to.
I got 30 minutes in and was like, I can't even keep watching this. This is like so uninteresting and bad that it was like, oh wow, that's if we talked about peak cinema, that is floor cinema, base of the
They
mountain.
they did Anthony Mackie dirty.
He didn't deserve that. Um, I want to say One Battle After Another, pretty mid. I was not there's some good stuff in there but I'm like not like I'm not into it.
Can you believe that's about to win Best Picture?
Are
It
you
is
joking?
hard front runner,
Oh
a
my
strong
God,
front
it's
runner.
so not that good, dude. I
I we'll have a
whatever.
conversation about that later.
Mm. Yeah.
I actually, so I want to hit up my honorable mentions. I have five honorable mentions: Frankenstein, The Life of Chuck, Zootopia 2,
Hmm.
Hamnet, and One Battle After Another. Because I do think it was a pretty good movie. It wouldn't be my pick. I would rather it be Sinners. I would rather it be Marty Supreme. But I do think we're gonna have a conversation about that when it
All right.
comes to the Oscars.
Fair enough. Well, I think that pretty much closes it out for our top tens for 2025, though. With that said, I think we touched on our other last little pieces. I think we're about to just sign off. So until next time, I've been Robert.
And I've been Ryan.
Thanks, folks.